Now I want to speak directly to one specific American, Donald. In the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do. We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see. And now, to my fellow Canadians, I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough, even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake, no matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you. We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for.
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario in Canada. Premier, thank you so much for being with us. Okay, what are your plans and how far are you willing to take it?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, Canadians love Americans. We love the U.S. It's one person that's causing these problems. I've talked to senators and congresspeople and governors, Republicans and Democrats. Not one of them agree with them. I've talked to business CEOs of the largest companies. They totally disagree with this. And President Trump ran on a mandate to lower costs, to create more jobs. This is going to do exactly the opposite. The auto sector, we buy over 400% more autos than Mexico, 200% more than anywhere in the world. And you know, he put up a smoke screen. He keeps moving the goalposts. Well, the market is speaking loud and clear. The market is going to go downhill faster than the American bobsled team, and we're going to continue seeing in the U.S. plants close, assembly lines shut down. In the auto sector, they may last 5, maybe 8 days before the parts that go back and forth across the border 8 times. This is unnecessary, and we do have to retaliate. And I apologize to the American people. It's not you. It's your president that's causing this problem. We're the #1 customer in the world to the United States. We had a great relationship. I want to continue on with that relationship, but I will use every tool in our toolbox to send a message to President Trump that this is the wrong thing to do.
Okay, this order, it's a wonderful order. It's a beautiful order. This order is pulling American booze off the liquor mart shelves.
I also want to point out that Canada has a secret weapon in this trade conflict with the United States, a trump card, so to speak. And it is located directly under our feet, and it is called Alberta Energy. You see, Alberta happens to have one of the largest deposits of oil and natural gas on the planet. It is significantly larger and far more accessible than the quickly declining oil and gas reserves located in the United States.
All right, guys, let's talk about what's going on because this one is personal and we have a lot to unpack. Trump has officially slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian imports, and as expected, Canadians are not backing down. This isn't just politics. This affects real people, real businesses, and real families on both sides of the border. Today, we are breaking everything down. Trudeau's response, which, by the way, he did not sugarcoat, the global solidarity we are witnessing as it stands, how Canadians have been rallying behind local products since the first tariff hit on February 1st, how the premiers of every province are standing firm, the businesses already feeling the heat, and the ripple effects this trade war is having on both sides of the border. And just before I even get into it, shout out to every Canadian who has been deliberately choosing only Canadian products since February 1st when the first tariff hit. You guys saw this coming and boy, were you ready. Let's get into it. Now, here's the deal. Trump claims this is about protecting American jobs and fixing trade imbalances. But let's be real, Canada isn't the problem here. What's important to understand is that the US and Canada have a deeply interconnected economic relationship. This isn't about some one-sided relationship where Canada just takes and takes, like Trump makes it out to sound. It's about mutual benefit. For instance, Canada supplies a significant portion of the US energy needs, including crude oil and electricity. Disrupting this balance hurts both countries. And let's not forget that this isn't the first time.
So we'll be announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. And I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico. And we will really have to do that because we have very big deficits with those countries. Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
Back on February 1st, Trump imposed an initial tariff and Canadians responded by, doubling down on supporting local products and businesses. Now, with this second round, the resolve is even stronger. But here is the kicker. This tariff don't just hurt Canada, they hurt American businesses and consumers too. Prices for every items are going up and industries that rely on Canadian imports are feeling the squeeze. It's a lose-lose situation if you ask me. So why pick a fight with your closest ally and trading partner? It just doesn't add up.
The U.S. Travel Association is now warning of an economic tourism disaster as thousands of Canadians cancel their flights in protest. That's right, Canadian travelers decided to fight back after Trump threatened 25% tariffs on Canada by boycotting travels to the U.S. and canceling all their vacation trips. And according to Canada's largest travel agency, Flight Centre, the huge surge of cancellations even included bucket list and milestone experiences valued at over $10,000.
America gets 61% of its energy from Canada at subsidized rates. We supply electricity to multiple US states, including New York, Vermont, and Minnesota. Canada's lumber, auto, and agriculture industries are deeply tied to the US economy. This is a partnership, not a handout. But instead of working things out like good neighbors do, Trump went straight for the tariffs again. And Canadians, we saw this play out back in February and pretty much adjusted fast. People stopped buying American goods. Businesses started sourcing locally. Vacation plans to the United States cancelled. And now with this second tariff wave, American businesses that relied on Canadian consumers are already feeling the pain. I know people personally who have cancelled their trips to the United States in protest. And trust me, they are not the only ones. Now, let's talk about Trudeau's speech today. One thing I respect, he didn't try to make it sound pretty. He was straight up about the fact that things are going to be tough.
And now, to my fellow Canadians, I won't sugarcoat it. This is going to be tough, even though we're all going to pull together, because that's what we do. We will use every tool at our disposal so Canadian workers and businesses can weather this storm. From expanding EI benefits and making them more flexible to providing direct supports to businesses, we will be there as needed to help. But Canada, make no mistake, no matter how long this lasts, no matter what the cost, the federal government and other orders of government will be there for you. We will defend Canadian jobs. We will take measures to prevent predatory behavior that threatens Canadian companies because of the impacts of this trade war, leaving them open to takeovers. We will relentlessly fight to protect our economy. We will stand up for Canadians every single second of every single day because this country is worth fighting for.
He called the tariffs very dumb and said exactly what we have all been thinking. This is not how you treat a friend.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal. But Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do. We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see.
He made it clear that while the US is out here cozying up to actual threats, they are pushing away Canada, a country that has had their back for decades. But what I like most, he made it clear that if we stay strong, this will pass. And not just that, we will come out of it more independent and less reliant on the US. That mindset, that is the mindset we kind of need right now. And here is the best part. Canada isn't alone in this. Premiers of every province stand united.
Oh, Canada. The president is sowing uncertainty and chaos, attempting to undermine our economy by implementing tariffs and then quickly pulling them off. He has realized what we told him from the beginning, which is that these tariffs hurt Americans. They hurt American companies. They hurt American workers. They hurt American families. And what's also hurting is the uncertainty that the continued threat and removal of tariffs has on our country here in Canada. My message for the Prime Minister, for my colleagues across the country, and it's one I'm sure they want to deliver to me too, is stand strong. We are not going to accept these continual threats, this continued uncertainty. We're going to stand up for Canadians. This is unacceptable. And we're going to ensure that the Americans understand how pissed off we are, how unified we are, how committed we are to working as a country to stand up for each other and our own independence on our own 2 feet. And I say we don't let up until the president takes the threat off the table.
This is something we don't see every day. Every single premier from coast to coast is backing Ottawa's response to these tariffs. Whether it's Doug Ford in Ontario, Francis Legault in Quebec, David Eby in British Columbia, or even Daniel Smith in Alberta, they are all on the same page about this. Some provinces are taking things even further. Quebec has been aggressively promoting local alternatives to American imports. Some grocery stores are literally labeling US products so customers can avoid them, which is pretty much what is happening across provinces. Alberta is making moves to expand trade with other countries because why should we keep trading or relying on a partner that keeps punishing us? Ontario is working with auto manufacturers to shift supply chains away from the United States. This level of unity is rare, but it tells you everything you need to know. No matter what political party they belong to, Canada's leaders are putting the country first. This isn't just a Canada versus US thing anymore. Other countries are watching and they are standing with us.
All right, listen, if you're a Kiwi and you follow me on TikTok, or if you're a Australian, wherever you live, can you do me a solid today? Stop buying American stuff. Orange Twitler just imposed the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. While everybody in New Zealand was asleep, these went into effect in America last night. We need to send a strong, unified, global message to the United States that this shit is not going to be tolerated.
The chaos that Trump's tariffs are causing right now is wild. So officially gone into effect today is 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada and 20% tariffs on China. You want to know the reaction? Stock markets around the world have fallen. Crypto markets have tanked. China just said if the United States persists in waging a tariff war, a trade war, or any other kind of war, the Chinese will fight them to the bitter end. Canada retaliated by vowing to impose a 25% tariff on all American imports, and Ontario's Premier Doug Ford said, if they want to try and annihilate Ontario, I will do anything, including cutting off their energy, with a smile on my...
International leaders are already criticizing the US approach, calling it unfair and warning about the global consequences. Even American experts are saying this could backfire badly because, let's be honest, when you pick a fight with Canada, you are not just hurting Canada, you are hurting your own economy. Canada isn't just fighting for itself, it's standing up for fair trade worldwide. And that's why the support we are getting is huge. Okay, now let's talk about how we are hitting back. Canada has responded with a 30 billion retaliatory tariff on US imports. And if this keeps going, there's another 125 billion ready to go. And the best part, Canadians aren't waiting for the government to fix this. People are ready. They are choosing Canadian products over American ones, supporting local businesses, avoiding US travel and spending their money here instead. And trust me, American companies are feeling it. Some businesses that rely on Canadian customers are already struggling.
Everybody in the tourist-related business is going through this.
At the Peace Arch duty-free shop in Surrey, the shelves are fully stocked, but the customers nowhere to be found.
But Canadians are not coming at all.
Owner Peter Raju says his business is unfairly caught in the middle of the US-Canada looming trade war, and business has dropped 80% since BC's premier said this.
We should really be thinking carefully about spending our money in that country.
But after his request to British Columbians not to travel to the USA, our business dropped immediately. We will have to lay off staff.
The owner says on a typical Tuesday morning, this parking lot would be about 40% full. But today, only 6 vehicles sit in the parking lot, and one of them is ours. It's not only land travel that's been impacted, plane travel to the U.S. up in the air, too.
Canadians are very well known for speaking with their wallets. It's definitely a trend now. It started out, as I said, as anecdotal, sort of people just saying, musing about changing their plans. Now we're seeing like concrete movement of passengers.
McMillan says some clients are traveling with an anything but America mindset, looking at European or Mexican destinations or canceling trips altogether.
This does seem to be a much more emotional issue this time around. And so, we expect that as far as a boycott goes, we'll probably see that last for a while.
And some Canadians we spoke with already changing course.
The U.S., I'll probably stay away from there for a long time now.
And I'm going to the States, and I have a daughter over there and 3 grandchildren. I do not like Trump.
The contrast between two countries right now is definitely an issue, yes.
This is why I always say we have more power than we think. When people stand together, we make an impact. And that is exactly what's happening right now. Okay, so here is the takeaway. This isn't going to be easy. Trudeau said it, and he's right. But we are not backing down. We have been through tough times before, and guess what? We will always come out stronger. I think this is our chance to build a more self-reliant Canada, to strengthen our economy and to show the world that we won't be pushed around. And let's not forget, the world is watching and they are standing with us. So let's keep doing what we are doing. support Canadian businesses, buy local, and stay informed. Because if there's one thing I know about Canadians is that when Canadians stand together, they don't lose. Drop your thoughts in the comments. How are you personally handling these tariffs? What do you think about the whole trade war? Are you changing where you shop? Canceling trips to the US? Let's talk about it. So YouTube thinks you will like this video over here. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Au revoir.